You can use file history to help recover your files and folders. Once you've enabled file history, you can access the file history or previous versions of files by right-clicking a file or a folder and clicking the previous versions tab. The following is protected by default: Contacts, Desktop Settings, Documents Library, Downloads, your Favourites folder, Links, Music Library, OneDrive Content, Pictures, Save Games, any searches, videos, and the other libraries. Remember that a library can be more than just an individual folder. Whilst you're protecting documents, music, and pictures, the libraries may contain multiple folders. To recover files, right-click the file, click the Previous Versions tab off the Properties dialog. You can then choose to open the file or to restore the file. In the demonstration, I'll show you how to enable file history and then how to recover files using file history. So to enable file history, click Start, type File History, and then choose Backup Settings. You can see a link here to configure backup and restore for Windows 7, but you've also got the option to backup using file history. You can turn that on, or you can click More Options. I can specify how frequently it will perform the backup and how long it will retain the backups. And I can also specify additional folders. By default it picks up the library files. So I can click Add a Folder because I know that I've got a folder in C drive that contains some data files, so I want to include that also. And then I can specify any exclusions that I want. And I can configure some advanced settings. Let's take a look. Advanced settings switches us over to Control Panel, and you can see that it's already got a configuration here. It's using the Backups shared folder on DC. I can now turn on file history. You can see that it's now making a copy of the files, and now we're good to go. So recovering files is different than with the backup and restore. It's file centric. So in other words, you go to the file that you need to recover, such as this one in the data folder, right click it and choose Properties, and then click on the Previous Versions tab, and it shows you the various versions that it has. It has one at 544 here and one at 545, and you can choose, or some from several days ago, or months ago, years ago in fact, and you can choose which one you want. If you're not sure, you can click Open the file, or open it in file history, and you can see here that this document has Configuring Windows Server 2012 Network Infrastructure as its title. This one, click on this, you can click Open in file history, and it shows me slightly different information, and based on that I can make a decision about whether this was the one I wanted to recover. So I can now click Restore to Original Location, and I can then replace the file in the destination or compare the information, and then I can store both if I want to. I'm just going to say replace the file, and that's now recovered the file to the correct version. So file history is very easy for a user to use. It works for a deleted file, but it works slightly differently. If a file's been deleted, then you have to take a look at the parent folder. So if we delete this file completely, that's now gone. Now obviously I can recover it from the recycle bin, but we're testing file history here, so let's assume that's not an option. So now to recover, I've got nothing to right click. So instead I click on the parent folder and choose Properties and select its previous versions. And here's a previous version that I can see, and I can now open that in file history, and it shows me, there's my file. So although it's not present and I can't select it as an individual file because I've deleted it, I can select the parent folder. I'd want to be careful about recovering all these other files, clearly, because I wouldn't want to, in the process of recovering this individual file, overwrite those older ones. So it's a very straightforward tool to use for recovery purposes. In the demonstration, you saw how to enable file history. You also saw how to recover files using file history.